Welcome to my channel. So this video will be a process video about my Galaxy Man painting. This is an original character I've been drawing before and had a bunch of sketches and did a whole watercolor painting. He was actually an inspiration that came from right after watching Sandman. I think it's Sandman. Is it called Sandman? The live action one based on the comic. That's on Netflix. Yeah, that one. So there's a bunch of steps actually for this one that I divided up to show the whole process of. It was first a thumbnail sketch in my sketchbook, and then I immediately went to transfer and digitally create line art for it. I tend to like this process the most just because it's then the cleanest when you're actually transferring it to a nicer paper, and you don't have to worry about erasing and ruining said paper with erasing and having to fix certain things 100 times. So just going over a second pass of the sketch, I already So yeah, after sketching out, because I'd only in the rough sketch sketched out the body, I already know how his outfit looked like because I'd already designed it and painted it before. I did add in a coat though this time, just because I thought it was kind of weird to just have a white sort of dress shirt, fancy dress shirt, and a white cape, because like the cape is supposed to be white and the dress shirt's supposed to be white, and then the pants were like this purple color. In the original, and when I was looking back to it, because I'm like, and his hair is white, I was thinking it's too much of white elements, you know, it would be kind of nice to like throw in some color. So the coat would definitely be another color. I did readjust the color palette of this character actually. So for the shading, I decided I was going to do cross hatching for this character, because I wouldn't say he's a harsh or edgy kind of character, so I wasn't planning on doing like solid blocks of black sort of thing for any of the shading. The sky was anyway going to be the darkest element because it's the galaxy, but you know, there was still gonna be contrast within him, but not as intense. You know, there was gonna be like a lot more lighter notes type of deal. And for the final pass for the Gothic window, I already had in mind that I was going to make it in Illustrator, just because a vector-based program, creating this is a lot easier, just because oftentimes for something so geometric, it's nicer to have clean lines to deal with and not sit there and have to try and draw circles, or even like have a program like, I know Procreate, you can kind of like draw out the circles, and you also have like preset circle ones that you can draw out, but even then it can get a little rough and it's just not as clean, I guess, and especially when you're editing and tweaking that stuff. So yeah, it just it is nicer. I mean, it's kind of nice when you're already doing everything by hand and drawing it out, then I guess it's fine, that whole drawn element. There's nothing wrong with like going at it. It's just I also like the idea of just having this asset like separate for other future use as well, and also because I was thinking trying out my cry cut with cutting on cardstock, this kind of stuff, like how that would look, just sort of fun experimentation, and you know, killing two birds with one stone. And yeah, oftentimes I have reused Illustrator vector assets or something in different projects. You can even use these in 3D programs and import them if you have, I believe, I forget what the file type is, but yeah, you can do that. So that's just like a neat sort of like reuse that you can have. And yeah, I just really enjoy the very clean, very circular lines, just because drawing circles can be a pain in the ass, and especially when you already have a lot of elements going, and you don't really always have a lot, like I didn't have a lot of time in hand to like be messing around, especially with the idea with a video in mind and everything, a busy schedule. I just, I didn't really feel like attempting to draw so many circles and failing miserably at it for multiple times and having to erase it a million times in pencil. So yeah, if you can make your art process easier and still have like fun with it, then that's just my best advice. Just do whatever process you feel works the best for you, and don't like be bothered by what somebody else is, I guess, gonna tell you. So yeah, just my recommendation. So I start off with using a 1.5 inch brush that I actually was using for acrylic paints for the ink wash layer, because I realized this is a very large piece and you really want to work with as big of a brush as possible starting off. You may drown the paper with quite a bit of water, and it's nice because it's a heavyweight paper. It's bao hong paper I got off of Amazon. And I was really impressed with how much it could take. I was a little worried even just how much I did drown it with the first layer even, but then I had gone in with the second layer and it was great. And this brush worked just fine for what I was using it for. I was also a little concerned because I think it was just labeled as a mixed media brush or something at the time, when I really needed to buy a really big brush when I was doing an acrylic painting. And it was like one of the cheapest options, because the cheaper options for these size brushes were like all sold out, and then there was only like really expensive ones. I think this might have been $12. I'm not even sure. But yeah, it holds a lot of water, and it does like help really move around the paints, or well, the acrylic inks in this case. And yeah. This is probably one of the roughest parts I'm filling in, or just because this brush was really destroyed and I did not have another brush I could work on for when it came to ink, like in smaller size. And just because I didn't want to ruin any of my nicer watercolor brushes, because when you use ink, it seems to ruin the brushes quite a bit. Like the quality of them deteriorates quite a lot. Deteriorates? I can't seem to say that word today. It's like the 7th time I'm trying to record this one small part, yay. Just if you're ever wanting to do ink wash painting or whatever, just have dedicated brushes is another tip I will say. So then I move on to the watercolor layers. I decided I just didn't, seeing as I didn't have the proper brush sizes, it was just easier to move on to the watercolors. Plus, I don't like the black ink as much. Like, it has like it's a warm black ink. Like, I checked, and Liquitex doesn't have like a cool acrylic black or something, so I have a muted gray, which is technically a purple toned, really dark color, and then the black, and then a blue. My magenta I didn't even use in this case, just because it was cursed and I had spilt it everywhere, so I just didn't even want to open it ever again. At this point, there's very little left of it anyway. So yeah, here's me going in and trying to fix up all the details in the windows with watercolors. I do also go in the end with like a little bit of acrylic, with regular gouache actually, and fix up the other details mixed with, I think I mixed it with watercolor just so it would match up. That this whole window was like a slight struggle, just because, you know, I put so much effort in getting all the circles correct using Illustrator and everything, and while you're painting it, you just can't even follow and paint within the lines. I was just complaining at myself. It's like, I can't believe it. Like, when it counts, you can't paint within the lines, really. You know, it's like one of those frustrating moments, but I think in the end it did work out and it wasn't as bad. It just, you know, in the moment, sometimes when you're working on the, I suppose, ugly stages and everything looks like a mess, you're kind of just freaking out at yourself, but just gotta keep persevering. Also, can I say, as somebody is left-handed, you can see that paper there. The amount of times I actually got my left hand coated in inks, when even in the beginning, and dipped my hand in the part that I just painted is, you know, I can't even believe I still do that. And, you know, it's been so long since I've been painting and drawing, and I will still manage to smear my arm with paint. So the thing that drove me most crazy throughout the rest of this while working on the rest of this image, was the skin tone, and why I didn't just stick to the original plan of using the wisteria and lavender for the skin tone, to have that like kind of cool tinted stylized night skin color look that sometimes you'll see in artworks. Instead, I at the last second decided I was going to use the colors I usually do when mixing skin tones plus wisteria and lavender, which was a horrible idea, because as I had previously mentioned with my palette swap, because wisteria and lavender those paint colors have white in it, it creates more of a muddier color, so it looks very grayed out. I do spoiler, I maybe slightly fixed it in the end. I was like hoping and praying the entire time. I was like picking and like, you know, just poking at it the entire time, getting so frustrated with it, and then I ended up moving on to painting the cape. Now, actually, I had given up painting the cape and went straight painting the jacket because initially my idea was I was gonna change my mind and not make the cape white, and this time I was gonna make the cape the purple color that I had made the pants, and then I was gonna make the jacket a phthalo blue. But then I realized I wasn't really a fan of the combination of like a phthalo blue jacket and the rose ultramarine, which is the purple cape or whatever. And staring at the Anime Toronto poster, I realized I kind of liked the pearly iridescent kind of look that it had with the combination of like this like aqua and purple tones or something. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna attempt like maybe try and attempt that for the cape, and like so it's still going to be white, but it's going to be like maybe a pearly toned thing. And I also decided the pants would be moon glow because I was like, I really love moon glow, and I'll just make one solid piece of clothing moon glow, why not? It kind of works with the piece anyway, right? It's like this Galaxy Man character and a pants made of a color that's called Moonglow. Sounds cool. I still don't have a proper name for this character, by the way. I am horrible with naming any original character I come up with. You have no idea how long my comic idea when I was like, what am I going to name my character? It took a while before I actually came up with a name. And I think I ended up using a mix between name generators and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my rant on character name. So here I go back with trying to fix the face. I actually remembered also why wasn't I looking at a reference. The anatomy app that I have also has a little bit of lighting features. It's not the greatest and it's very limiting, but it's enough to like kind of show where the shadows would hit and fall. So I think that like following that and tweaking it a bit really helped. I also gave up on the wisteria and lavender because I'd already mixed in other colors. So then I mixed, I think, yellow ochre and the rose of ultramarine, because a good tip a lot of artists give is just keep using the same colors you've already used within the artwork and don't like mix like brand new colors into it when doing any other parts. So I was like, okay, for the skin tones I'm just gonna include the colors that were already there. And the shirt now I'm also shading the same way that I decided to shade the cape. Now I kind of chickened out on going too hardcore on that cobalt teal or teal light, I think, the aqua-y pretty color, and the opal-y thing. So it's not hardcore and very easy to tell, but I do like the way I shaded this one because I think the shading previous time for the white details was fairly flat. And in this one, it's, I suppose maybe I could have gone a little bit like lighter, not so intense on the when I was doing the washes for the parts that were actually white, but I'm still happy I did that though, just because I think I wasn't quite satisfied the last time with just having so much of the white paper pop out with it. So I feel like in the end, the contrast still stands out. So I finally move on to filling in the gold details because I figured like it's a good idea to start like having everything come together, and it'll also give a good idea of which parts need more work. I think multiple times kept forgetting to paint the coat. Right, jacket collar is the part that I kept for a while. I kept forgetting to paint it and left it white. So it's like the white collar of the shirt and the unpainted jacket collar is like why things look so bizarre right now. So here's where I actually went and was touching up some of the what's it called, the window that I did and any of the mistakes. It's not the most perfect one, but yeah. And I also had decided I was going to add the line art to it. Like I had already, I think pretty much from the start, I did think I was going to add the line art. I was gonna like take Tony Moy's advice. He was saying, because he does watercolors and he says he will do line art at the end, or I don't know if it's something he always does, but he says he does it like, he gave that advice at least. And I was like, you know what, that's actually pretty good idea. And I started off with doing the muted gray as line art because I didn't want to go straight up black, because this character again is I don't know why I keep thinking that word in Serbian and not in English on how to describe it, but it's like softer, I guess. I don't want to like say gentle, because that's not really like, I wouldn't really call him like gentle, but not necessarily like violent or something, I don't know. Yeah, so I was like, all right, I'm just because especially for the white clothing and everything, it would be such a stark difference to put just solid black lines. So the muted gray, that's kind of the reason why I bought that ink in the first place, because it's like, it's gentler, I guess. It's not as aggressive as the black, and it's great for pieces like this to kind of give that subtle line art. Yeah, the cry cut mask only got used for the stars, which, to be honest, was something I always do need when I'm ever doing the stars. I just usually create a cutout anyway for the character, so it was just fun testing it out and like creating the thing. So, yeah. I did bring out the highlights with the whites, and then later on I ink think, am I inking it now with the black? I believe I am, because that's my, I use the liner brush for the white, the leader, and also the black, so I'm pretty sure I'm using the black ink now with like a little bit of muted gray, just to make the edges pop, because I always love outlining a character, and I kind of like the mix of graphical plus like shading type of deal like this, so yeah. And here is the final artwork. Thanks for sticking around this long if you have. I hope you enjoyed the whole process of the video. And yeah, thanks for watching.